Welcome to this next episode of Your Music, Your Story. This week's going to be a little bit of it's going to be a filler week because I couldn't get anyone to meet with me this week. So here we are. Next week might be the same unless I can figure out, get someone to meet with me. I've got some scheduled in the future, but just couldn't get anything. So we'll keep working on it. What this episode is going to be is I'm just going to go through maybe 4, maybe 5 songs that I've done over the year, maybe even more that I just really enjoy and what I enjoy about them and how I play them. So that way you can learn some songs that you didn't even know existed. I got my trusty guitar here that I got from the Best Buy in Riverside when they were closing down their music department. It's going through, I'll take a picture of it. I've got a simplifier up here with 2 tracks, left and a right. And then it also goes through a Randall, which goes in the speaker in the closet back there. And then my pedal board over here. So that's what we got. But before we get going with that, just want to let everybody know I'm working on some Christmas covers. So if all 10 or 15 of you who are listening, if any of you want to join me on some Christmas covers, that would be totally awesome. You know, want to do some singing for Christmas style. The ones that I'm doing are Step Into Christmas by Elton John, Hang Your Lights on Me by, I think it's Josh McCollum or Collum. I don't know who it is. Don't really care. You Make Me Feel Like Christmas. I've got someone to help me with that one. Happy Holidays. Favorite Time of the Year by Kelly Clarkson. Mr. Grinch by Darren Ruckus, but I'm going to change the lyrics to make that about Mr. Biden because he's a dingleberry. Christmas Eve by Kelly Clarkson. I think I've done a couple of hers, actually. Anyway. What else is it? Ribbons and Bows by I have no idea who. Merry Christmas Everyone by Shakin' Stevens. And One More Sleep by I don't really know. So, there's a selection. So, it's just in case any of you want to do some Christmas covers, hit me up. Or if no one who may be interested, if you want to hear what I've at least started with, they're on my Bandcamp, where all this will be located if you want to go listen to what I've got going with those so far. Also, one more thing, my brother and I are going to start at some point a conspiracy podcast where we basically talk about conspiracies and how some are complete wackadoodles and those who believe them are nut jobs and some are interesting. So if you want to join our episodes once we get it, hit me up. That way I can lose faith in some of you and your weirdo ideas. But there's that. So let's get going. All right, so this first one we're going to do is called Stormtroopers. This is off of what one? Dancing with One Legs that came out when I did this one. I really don't know. But anyway, it came out at some point. So this one was just one. So my issue that I have, this one actually has lyrics. So one issue that I have is writing lyrics. It's always a hard one for me. It's always difficult. But one day, this is when we were at the Retcons, and at this point it was... Oh, who was it? I think Ty had left, so it was Jessica. So Jessica, Dave, Emily, and me. And so we were just at Dave's house. I think we were either working on a recording for the Retcon or Undercover Monsters, or it was for Jessica's band or another band. I'm not sure. So Jessica's like, well, why don't you write a song about being a stormtrooper or something like that? So that's where this one come from. Now, the reason why I like it is because it's fun, and it's about Star Wars, and it has a hardcore Star Wars part in the middle. Dan, 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 dan. But the bass, the song itself isn't that complicated. And then, I don't even remember what the guitar part was. Something like that. So what I'll do is I'll just put the song on there, me playing with the song. Now this isn't going to be the guitar on there because it would be too complicated to remix it with just the single track and put my guitar over it. We'll see. Maybe it will, maybe not. So here's going to be Stormtrooper off of Dancing with One Leg.
up in the whole galaxy on the Empire Death Star. We're on our way to one of the moons of Yevon to wipe the Rebel Alliance out with one swift stroke. Then some whiny kid shows up with his R2 unit and his X-Wing fighter with the help of a walking carpet and a scruffy-looking nerf herder. Now I'm a stormtrooper without work. Now I'm a stormtrooper without work. Now I'm a stormtrooper without work. And there's a million other clones who look just like me. Where was the father to bring these kids' lives? Oh, that's right, he's got respiratory problems. So he spent his time tripping and it's out. Guess what? Alter the deal. Then Fishface shows up who thinks that everything's a trap. And Lando Calrissian, who betrayed his friends and betrayed us. Now I'm a stormtrooper without work. Now I'm a stormtrooper without work. Now I'm a stormtrooper without work. And there's a million other clones who look just like me. I'm a stormtrooper without work. Now I'm a stormtrooper without work. Now I'm a stormtrooper without work. And there's a million other clones who look just like me. Without work, now I'm a stormtrooper without work. Now I'm a stormtrooper without work. So screw you, Palpatine. Why did you pick that stupid little whiny kid from Tatooine?
So again, that was Stormtroopers off Dancing with One Leg, and that did come out in 2016. Now they actually organized my iTunes to look right. And I just like that song because it's about stormtroopers losing their job because the Death Star blew up. And it makes me chuckle. So we're going to stick with this same album. What we're going to do is the first song off this one, which is Crying to Myself About Candy. Now this one also has lyrics. Just some lyrics I wrote about being a kid. So what you'll notice for the most part, what all these have in common are basically thirds, minors and major thirds. So there's your power chords with thirds. So either major thirds or minor thirds, whichever one went, or playing little leads with the chords. I just enjoy those and I like it. So this one is one of my finger stretcher songs, because it gives me a little bit of a finger workout. So here's basically how this one's going to go. And then it just goes through the song, just plays the song. I really like that one. I just like those type of chords. So here is going to be, I can't even remember the name of these. So this is called Crying to Myself About Candy off of Dancing with One Leg. And here we go.
whole thing begin. I wish I could have stopped it then. Wouldn't be a problem now. Escaping to fantasy is a false reality and the only escape for me. Then the darkness waits for me to come. Can't I stay here in the fun? Avoid as long as how could I face reality when I've been in a dream, hoping I would never wake up here again. I was too young to understand and could not comprehend what was going on. To try and think of anything and everything other than what was in my head only worked for so long.
Alright, so that was Crying to Myself About Candy and Stormtroopers off Dancing with One Leg album, and came out in 2016. That album has, I think, half the songs have lyrics and the other half do not. So it is what it is. Here we are. But what we're going to do, move on to the next one, which is Messed Up Disco Tracks. This came out in 2019. The first song we're going to do off there is just number 1 because they don't have names. Just Messed Up Disco Track number 1, number 2, blah, 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 on up to, I think, 12. And this song just makes me chuckle because, again, all it is just... even with the little mess up there. You know, and the way I view music theory, it's like the quote from... I forget, what's it? Pirates of the Caribbean, when what's her name keeps going on about the code of the brethren, and you have to obey the code. And the thing is, Barbossa's like, the code is more like guidelines than actual rules, because this one uses all the notes, all the way, which those aren't in the same scale. But hey, if you make it work, then I guess it works. So this one is going to be Messed Up Disco Track number 1, and it's just those major thirds. And so here we go. Messed Up Disco Track number 1. next one we're going to have here. This is going to be Messed Up Disco track number 12. And the whole reason why I did this one, simply I wrote it. I mean, it's still, again, I get a little complicated because this one stretches my fingers. Heaven forbids we make an easy one. But it's just, again, so it's your fifth, just a, what do we got, a B5? And then you're going to add a D, a G, a D, just a DT, a D3, so a D and a 3. And then you come down to an A, and you're going to add a D sharp, or a D flat, minor third. And that's all it is. Add some palm muting. Whatever. All right. So, and then the chorus was kind of, yeah, maybe it's the chorus. I don't know. But this one is just going to be an add 9, F and add 9, G3, and an A minor. So. And I just like it. I like the way it sounds. And one part that I think adds a little bit of a cool factor to it is the bass is playing right the first time through. But when we come back the second time through, instead of going back down to an F, so like it would just be following the chords because the chord comes in F, but it goes up to a C because your F9 has a C and a G, which is basically a C5, and then you have the F, makes it a suspended, so it just adds a little color. So the bass, instead of going, it's going up to a C. So and so it gives it a little bit more pizzazz. It makes the chord sounds like it's progressing up, but really it's just the same F, E, A minor, back and forth. But because that bass moves, I just really enjoy it. But the other reason why I did this is because I wanted to put some jazz chords under distortion. And I say some, it's really only one jazz chord. But so in the bridge, the second part on here, what we're playing is we've played an F9, slide that up to a G9, and then a B minor. B minor 7? And so, and it just goes back and forth between those two. Anyway, that was a bunch of sloppiness. But yeah, that's what I really like about that song is the F, G, A, and then the bass going to a C while the guitar goes back down to F, but it sounds like it's moving up, but in reality the bass just moves up but nothing else does. And then that B minor 7. It's a good one. Touches the soul right there. Right, so here is Messed Up Disco track number 12. All right, so that was Messed Up Disco Tracks number 1 and 2 off Messed Up Disco Track album, which I did in 2019. That one doesn't have any lyrics because those I didn't do. Imagine that. I'm noticing a pattern. All right, next one, what we're going to do, this is off of, these two. It's called Piddling Around in the Snow, which was basically ended up being just a various mess load of songs I did at various times and just threw them all together and put them in one album. And that's what this one is. So the first one we're going to do is called Chill. Word. Because it still makes me laugh. This was band practice with the Retcons, and Alex, he was walking through his apartments, and somebody, I don't know, because I like 311. Todd likes 311. Dave's on 311, even though he was in a 311 video. David. Anyway, so, chill. Word. Anyway, so Alex said he was walking through his apartment, and some girl was talking to another one. She just goes, oh, word. And so that's where that came from, because it still makes me laugh to just say, oh, word. And I don't even know what they were talking about, but it just makes me laugh, that story. Anyway, this one, honestly, the song isn't really much anything great. It's just... and then some palm muting. But the coolest part of this song is involved, which you can't see it, is the Zildjian Zill bell over here. Oh yeah, it's one of those where the song stops and you gotta ding that thing loud. It's just awesome. I did it in Lights Out in the Retcon, same kind of thing. When you take a break, you just gotta hit that ding because it's awesome. It's just awesome. I haven't seen one in a while, but when I went and talked with VCS, Chris has it. He's got one of those Zill bells. I think he's got I don't remember if he's got the small, I think, because this one's a 9. He might have had like the 8 or something like that, 7.5. I'm not sure, but they're just awesome. That's the only thing that I love about this song is just that middle section where it just goes quiet and bing. And then it's just... bing! It's the most awesome thing in the world. So this is going to be Chill Word off of Piddling Around in the Snow in 2015. Here we go. All right, so this one is going to be the last song, I believe, on that one, which is called "Do You Want Some." This totally reminds me of like a ZZ Top kind of blues, not as cool as ZZ Top, but and all it is just I just remember at one point sitting there when I was trying to learn guitar, and someone just was sitting there. It might have been my brother or somebody else, and basically you're just playing a power chord E to a G. And I just thought, it sounds like a blues. And so that's where this song is, what this whole song is. It's just a... and it's just awesome. Now, I just played the solos. There's two little leads at the beginning and then sort of towards the end. I didn't know what I was doing. I just kind of wing them, and I don't really feel like trying to relearn them again because I didn't even learn them back then. I just winged it. But, yeah, all this is, those are just a E, G. So basically E5, G3, A5, G3, and at some point it goes, and that's all the whole song is. And then there's a little haphazard drum fill. I wouldn't call it a drum solo because I'm not a soloer in any way on anything. So here is "Do You Want Some" from Piddling Around in the Snow. So here we go. All right, so that was Do You Want Some and Chill Word off Piddling Around in the Snow, which was in 2015. One more song that I really enjoy off that album, which is, it really isn't the guitar part, it's because of the drum. Now, I like high-tuned drums. I like those heads cranked as tight, just about as tight as they could be. I'll tell you, one of the best sounding snare drums, which I started emulating for years after that, was many of you know Art from Since We Were Kids. When I met him in high school, or went to his house with his band that he was in high school, and he'd put a marching snare, a Kevlar marching snare, on a head on his snare and just cranked it tight, and it just popped, it rang, and I just thought, oh. That was music to my ears. And so ever since then, I would go buy Kevlar heads and put them on my snare and just crank it down so there's very high tune and they pop. No low end on my snares at all. But I do like some of the fat low end snare sounds, but I never wanted to retune my own, tune them, and then go back up. So I happened to watch a video and someone said, well, you just put a shirt over it and it kind of give you that little bit of that fat backbeat type of snare. So off that same album, it's called Funky Groove, I think. Funky Groove, where I just got a shirt, I put it over there, and it kind of gives you that fat little bit of that dull flat snare drum off a snare that is a 5.5 metal snare with a Kevlar head that's just cranked down. I mean, it is tight as can be, but then you throw that shirt over and it gives you that little fat backbeat. So yeah, thanks Art, if you ever hear this, thanks. You got me started on Kevlar snare heads because they're awesome. All right. I'll just play you the intro to this one because the song itself is just whatever. It's called Redo, and it's off Super Homies Unite for the Mishaps of Time. And I just happened to just think, hey, this would be a good thing to do. I woke up early one morning, just couldn't sleep, and so I grabbed my acoustic guitar and I recorded this one morning before going to work. But I just like it. Just something clever to do at the beginning. The song's just a D, and so we had to make the beginning. So here's a sloppy version of it because I haven't played it in a while, but it goes. All right, I got to keep restarting the stupid camera. If anyone's got any good cameras that will record more than 10 minutes, however long mine is, and then it just shuts itself off. Piece of junk. I mean, it's a nice camera, but whatever. So anyway, this is just going to be the last one for this episode until the next episode. So just before we get into this one, again, if you made it this far, you heard the first part, but I'm working on some Christmas covers. If any of you are interested or even know anyone that might be interested in wanting to do some collabs on some Christmas songs, they're on my Bandcamp. This one's called Christmas Covers Gone Awry Again. It's the first one up there. It's just, I put the idea on there because someone's going to help me with, you make it feel like Christmas? And for some reason, Google Drive wasn't working, so that's why I put it on the share. So they're on there, just the basic ideas of what I'm doing with the songs. So there's those. Some of them are definitely out of my range, so I don't know if no one wants to do them. I don't know what I'm going to do. I have to figure out something on how to get them done. But also, my brother and I are going to start a conspiracy podcast talking about conspiracies. I do believe in some. I think some are a little... I think some of you are nut jobs and you're wackos for your stupid beliefs, but hey, if you want to come and talk about them, I'm up for it. Maybe you can convince me. I'm open to be convinced, but you got to have a pretty good argument with some of them. Flat earthers. Bunch of dingleberries. Joel. I'll tell you, here's my flat earth story about Joel, if Joel ever listens to this. So I think I told this in another podcast, but I don't know. But Joel used to be my boss where I work now at March Air Reserve Base. But I met Joel in 90 whatever. He was a guitar player looking for a drummer. I was a drummer looking for a guitar player. So We had a common friend, Brian, and so Brian's like, hey, blah, 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 hooked us up. So we started a band in high school called High. It was fun, man. We had fun. I went on a mission. He went on the Air Force, or went into the Air Force, not on the Air Force. When I came back, I moved out to Texas for a couple months, and to me, it just wasn't going to work out. So we were in the band. Then I moved back up to Utah State, and we still kept in contact. And then he offered me the position, and so that he was my boss for, I think, 15 years. He was my boss. Okay, so I've known this dude since the early 90s. And maybe we just never talked about the flat earth. I have no idea. I do not know. But he comes back. I think this was in 2018. I think it was, 2018, after Thanksgiving. He'd gone to his in-laws' house. And so we get back to work on Monday, and, hey, whatever, blah, talking about Thanksgiving the weekend. And he goes, yeah, I just had to spend the whole weekend talking with round earthers. So, what? Round earth? Yeah, the people who think the earth is round. And so he was let go in, I think, October 2019. So from that November until then, we had a dry erase board with all these stupid equations and pictures of how him trying to prove how the earth cannot be round, it has to be flat, and me proving that it has to be round, it can't be flat. We had a diagram of the solar system drawn out on the stupid floor in our warehouse because I had no idea. Here's a man that I'd known for almost, how many years at that point was that? 30 years? I had no idea he was a flat earther. Anyway, so we're going to start that up. If it sounds interesting, hit me up. I'll put the episodes, what we want to do, and if anyone wants to join us, or we can just talk trash about you behind your back through our podcast. All right, so our last song here that we're going to do is going to be off Drop the D album, which was in 2015. Same thing as the Piddling Around in the Snow. Again, it's just a bunch of songs that I did and threw together in the same album. This one, I wrote the bass track, I want to say, in a hotel in Vandenberg when we were up there for work. We were at Vandenberg Air Force Base, and then just go back and hang out at the hotel. I think it was either in Lompoc or Santa Maria, one of those two. I want to say it was Lompoc at the Embassy Suites. But the bass track is just going to go... something like that. Anyway, and then I decided, all right, let me do something with it, and added a part on the beginning just because I wanted to put some jazz chords rather than some funk. So this one's going to be a little bit more during that bass lines. But I wanted to put some jazz chords in there, some of the sevenths, the 13ths, the ninths, add nines and all that stuff, because I just love them. They just are so cool. So that's what this one is. So this one is going to be a C major 7 down to an F major 7, but this is going to be missing the 5 basically. Then just to an F7. All right, sorry. Yeah. Let me get this right. All right, B flat 7. Then do a G major 7. So again, just C major 7, F major 7, B flat 7, G major 7. And that's what the beginning is. While the bass is just kind of doing a little walk, which I thought was really fun, but it's just a... And then once the bass line comes in, like I said, it's just going to be a lot of... and my hands, I'm sloppy at reaching those chords anymore. I need to do a lot more practicing. So this is going to be song number 2, which is at the end. It's like number 14 off that album, and it's labeled number 2. This is off of Drop the D. So thanks for joining me. It depends. I'm trying to get someone scheduled for next week. I've got some for scheduled after that. I've got a couple, but we're just going to keep working. So if I can't find someone, we'll have episode number 2 of songs that I've done in the past that I really enjoy. So thanks for joining me. And here is song number 2 off of Drop the D from 2015. Thanks for joining me. Go team.